Kong Marcoleta.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair. Nandyan po ba yung representative po ng PESA?
Administrator Plaza of PESA is recognized.
Yes, Your Honor. This is PESA Director General Plaza.
Good afternoon po. Yun pong Big Dipper is an IT enterprise na niregister po sa PESA. Tama po?
Yes, sir. Sir, can I be allowed to share with you a chart which provides all the information about Big Dipper?
Sandali po. Tanong lamang po yung sagutin nyo. Registered po sa PESA.
Opo,
Big Dipper.
registered po sa PESA noong September 1, 2009.
Ano po yung
As an
Mga
IT enterprise po, si Big Dipper.
ano po yung mga
IT-enabled
requirements?
creative content, digital film archiving. That is for the description of the type of registration of Big Dipper.
Madam, yung mga tanong lamang po sana, yung tanungin po ninyo, ang sagutin po ninyo.
Yes po, yes po. It was registered September 1, 2009.
Ang tinatanong ko lang po kasi kung registered. Di ko po tinatanong kung kailan. Ano po?
Okay, yes, it is registered.
Ano po yung mga requirements para ang isang kumpanya ay ma-register sa PESA?
First requirement po is export-oriented. So our clients are only export companies who are into manufacturing, processing, refinery assembly, agro-industrial tourism, medical tourism, and IT BPO. Ito po yung mga ni-register ng PESA.
Ano pa po?
Yun lang po. So two clients of PESA is first is the ecozone developer or operator. Ito po yung mga IT centers, IT parks, at saka mga horizontal ecozones like agro-industrial and others. And
Di
our
pa po,
second
kaya
client
natin
are the
sila binibigyan
export-oriented
ng-
companies.
Kaya natin sila binibigyan ng incentive by way of tax dahil meron silang nako-contribute sa ating economy. Kanina
Yes.
pong tinanong kayo ng isang kasama namin, isa sa sinabi ninyo yung employment generation because sabi po ninyo, they have created thousands of jobs. Sinabi po nyo kanina yun.
Yes, sir. PESA companies in general po, sir. Right
Wala pa
now,
po
we
akong
have
tanong
408 economic zones and 4,564 companies and 1.6 million directly employed Filipinos.
Ma'am, magkakahirapan po tayo kung hindi tayo nagkakaintindi. Yung lang pong
Ms.
tanong
Plaza,
ko,
excuse me, no? Ms. Plaza, can you listen to the question first before you speak? Huwag ho kayo sasagot nang hindi ho kayo tinatanong, please.
Kasi
Just wait for the question before you answer, please.
questions.
ilan pong mga trabaho ang na-create na ng Big Dipper? Mamula po nung siya ay ma-reestro sa
As
PESA.
Our record will say 164 po.
Ilan po?
workers.
164. Akala ko po kanina sinabi nyo thousands of jobs.
For all the registered companies po ng PESA. 1 million, 1.6 million po lahat.
Madam, ang pinag-uusapan po natin yung Big Dipper. Sabi po ninyo kanina, kaya natin sila binibigyan ng tax incentives, isa na po yung pagkaka-generate nila ng jobs. Sabi niyo po kanina, thousands of jobs po ang na-generate ng Big Dipper.
Sir,
Ngayon
hindi
po, 164 lang pala.
Hindi po ang ibig kong sabihin. I'm speaking for the entire 4,564 companies registered with PESA.
Iyon nga po ang problema natin, Madam. Big Dipper lang ang pinag-uusapan natin. Ngayon po, 164 jobs lang palang na-create nila.
Pero sir, can I
Yes
flash
or
the
no lang
screen,
po, ma'am.
investigate
Mahihirapan
the
po
chart?
itong pagdinig na ito kung hindi kayo sumasagot ng... Kanina pa po sinasabi ko, kung ano po yung tanong, yun lang ang sagutin nyo.
Okay, sir. We based it, sir, also on the capital investment. No? Yung capital investment
Mr.
po
Chair, wala pa po akong tanong
ni Big Dipper.
Miss Plaza, Miss Plaza,
149 million.
can you turn off her microphone first?
668. And then yung kanila pong taxes paid from the 5% GIE for 3 years has totaled to
Miss Plaza.
354
Miss Plaza.
352.
Hindi ho kayo tinatanong pa, ba't kayo nagsasalita, Miss Plaza?
No, session suspended. Hindi niya talaga narinig. Ma'am Plaza, Ma'am Ching, si Mike po. Ay, hindi.
Kong Mike,
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, hindi niyo po kami naririnig dito sa floor?
o naputol-putol eh.
Pasensya na po. Sinuspend po muna namin, Ma'am Ching. Si Kong Boy po yung narinig niyo na po kami?
Opo.
Ayan po. Sige, ma'am. We can continue. Chairman Chokoy, with your indulgence, session resume.
Please proceed po, Kong Marcoleta.
Chairman, pwede pong paki-advise natin ng representative ng PESA kung anong po yung tanong lang, yun lamang po ang isasagot niya.
Noted po, Kong Marcoleta. Ma'am Ching, pakilimit na po yung sagot natin doon po sa tanong po.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Madam, do you know the cross-border doctrine for economic zone?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
When we identify economic zones, the economic developer should apply to PESA, and the PESA board approves who qualifies to become an economic zone. And the final approval, sir, is through a presidential proclamation by the president.
Mr. Chair, can we have another representative from PESA to answer my question? The question is, do you know the cross-border doctrine for economic zone? It's yes or no?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Ano bang ibig sabihin yan?
Miss Plaza, Mr. Chairman, Chairman Chikoy,
Kong Boying,
yes, can we ask Deputy Director General Panga to be the one to answer the questions? Baka ho para we don't waste our time.
hinahanap ko po dito sa Zoom kung may iba. Sa PESA po ba, meron pong ibang representative na nandito sa Zoom? Comsec, meron ba tayong ibang kasama from PESA? Wala akong mahanap
Administrator Plaza lang, sir.
Nakamute po si Director General Ching Plaza. Paki-unmute muna, baka malinaw.
Yes, sir. I will pass the microphone to my deputy for operations, DDG Aboydo.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, this is Deputy Director General Mary Harriet Abordo. I'm Deputy DDG for Operations.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Nakapag-oath na po ba kayo?
Pardon? Hindi ho. Hindi pa ho.
Comsec, pakipa-oath po muna si ma'am.
Yes. Deputy Commissioner, Deputy Administrator, Deputy General.
I, Deputy Director General Harriet Abordo.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this
I do.
joint congressional inquiry? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you po, ma'am. Comsec, thank you. Deputy Speaker Marcoleta, pwede na po kayo magpatuloy sa pagtatanong po ninyo.
Madam, alam po ba ninyo yung cross-border doctrine for our economic zone?
Yes, Your Honor.
Will you please state it?
The cross-border doctrine particularly relates to the fact, which is indicated in the PESA law, that the PESA economic zones are separate customs territory in nature, and the cross-border doctrine actually refers in particular also to the policy of VAT payments in the Philippines, which observes the cross-border doctrine policy.
Siguro po sabihin ko na lang sa inyo para hindi tayo magkahirapan. Ano? Ito pong cross-border doctrine for economic zone. Ito po'y batas creating an imaginary border within our territorial jurisdiction so that everything produced within our jurisdiction are tax exempt. Yun po yung cross-border doctrine. Nakuha niyo po?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yung economic zone po are supposed to be production areas. Is it correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
They should produce. They are not supposed to be marketing platforms only. Is that correct?
They should produce either products or render services.
Kaya nga po, products and services. Pagka nagmamarket lamang po sila ng products and services, hindi po sila nagpo-produce. Is that correct?
Nagpo-produce po sila, in effect po, yung either products, which are the manufacturing companies.
Sino po yung
and
sila? Wala pa po akong tinatanong na
with
kumpanya sa inyo eh.
enterprises.
Sino po yung sila? Tinatanong ko pa lang po itong mga tourist natin.
Enterprises po.
Okay. Maging compose lang po kayo. Wala naman pong takutan dito eh. Ang sinasabi ko po, yung economic zones natin are supposed to be production areas. Huwag po kayong matakot kasi mambabatas naman kami rito eh. Maging relax lang po kayo.
Opo.
Kapag production areas po yung ating economic zones, hindi po sila mga marketing platforms. Tama? Production
Yes po,
eh.
that's right.
Okay. So lahat po ng mga nag-apply sa inyo, mga locators, dapat mag-produce sila.
That's
Kasi zone
right.
po kayo eh. Tama?
That's right po.
Okay. Yung Big Dipper po, ano po ang pinroduce nila for export?
They are essentially producing services, which is the same thing that is the case for other PESA-registered IT and BPO companies.
Sigurado po kayo, ma'am? Are you sure that Big Dipper are producing services for export?
Based on their registered activity, they are engaged in digital archiving. ERD report.
Did you bother to check on what they do, madam?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ano po?
They are engaged, which is their registered activity, they are engaged in digital archiving. which
Digitization.
is,
Tama po?
Just a moment po. The ERD
Hindi po ba ang dinigitize, whatever, mga local contents po ng kanyang mga subsidiaries dito sa ating bansa, ma'am?
Actually, in essence, what they are doing is,
Ma'am, yung pong tanong ko, hindi po ba yung kanyang digitize ay yung local production po ng kanyang mga subsidiaries? Katulad po ng...
yes po.
ang mga subsidiaries po niya kasi, ma'am, o yung kanyang mga clients dito sa ating bansa, ABS-CBN Corporation, ABS-CBN Film Productions, Inc., Sarimanok News Network, ito yung ABS-CBN News Channel, Creative Programs, Isa lamang po ang kanyang, parang masasabi nating foreign client. Ito po yung ABS-CBN Global Hungary. Ito pong ABS-CBN Global Hungary, ito po ay 100% subsidiary ng ABS-CBN. Alam po ninyo
Yes.
yun? Alam po ninyo?
Yes po.
Okay.
Oho.
Ano po ang produktong ine-export niya? Eh yung ine-exportan niya po ay 100% na subsidiary ng ABS-CBN. Nasaan po ang export doon, madam?
The export actually is in the form of, is in the payment of services for converting the analog materials to digital format.
Ano
So,
po ba
essentially,
ang definition ng
of
export,
services.
ma'am? Ano po ang definition ng export?
Exports are sales that are rendered to a foreign company abroad and paid
Okay.
for through remittance of foreign exchange.
Okay.
Remittance of foreign exchange.
Iisa
to the
po
country.
yung kanyang kliyente abroad. Ang sinasabi ko po sa inyo, ito yung ABS-CBN Global Hungary. Ito po ay 100% na subsidiary ng ABS-CBN Corporation. So siya rin po yun. Hindi po foreign company yun.
It
Paano
is-
po siya
it-
nag-export?
Essentially, I'm not a lawyer po, but it's registered abroad. So it is considered as a foreign company.
Yun po yung sagot ninyo, ma'am.
Yes po.
Kahit na po nasa abroad siya, 100% naman na owned siya ng ABS Corporation. Ibig sabihin, foreign company ang ABS Corporation.
It resides in a foreign company po, if I may say that.
Sino po ang resident sa foreign country? Nag-register lamang po siya doon sa Big Dipper po ay incorporated sa Pilipinas in the year 2000. Ang ABS-CBN Global, sa Hungary po yun, meron pa siyang branch sa Luxembourg. Ito po ay na-register naman sa Hungary. Ang nature niya is a limited liability company registered in 2009.
Yes po.
Tama po ba yun?
Opo.
Ngayon po, tingnan ninyo, ang kinikita po ng Big Dipper, yung mga revenues, are derived by selling to itself. Kasi po, yung ABS-CBN Global ay 100% owned by ABS. Ganun po yung nangyayari rito. Kaya po ang tanong ko sa inyo, kung hindi po ninyo nakikita yung picture, wala po siyang napoproduce. Dinidigitize lang po niya yung content dito sa Pilipinas. That is not a product exported to a foreign country. Hindi po siya foreign eh. It is owned 100% by ABS-CBN. Ngayon po ito,
Meron ako yung
ano ba ito? Ano ba ito? Ang binayad po ng Big Dipper sa pamahalaan, 5% based sa gross income dahil po siya ay registered sa PESA. Tama po yun, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor.
At yun ay hiwalay sa VAT, withholding tax, expanded withholding tax, yung tinatawag nating fringe benefit tax, at saka yung final withholding tax. Meaning to say, ang basis po nun ay yung gross income. Tama po?
Your Honor, that's
Okay.
right.
Ang tinitingnan po kasi kapag registered sa PESA ay yung gross income at imumultiply lang sa 5%. So yun po yung bayad niya lang. Kung hindi siya rehistrado sa PESA, ma'am, ang titingnan nyo dito ay yung net income. Kung tawagin po yun ay taxable income. At yan po naman ay imumultiply ng 30% corporate income tax. Iba po ang talagang malaki sana po yung kung ganun. Sa makatwid, nakakatipid sila talaga sa income tax sapagkat pinayagan ninyo sila na marehistro sa PESA. Kung hindi sila rehistrado, siguradong sigurado, net income multiplied by 30% corporate income tax. Yun po dapat ang babayaran nila. Ngayon, pinayagan po niyo silang magrehistro sa PESA. Hindi po ba ang basis ng registration is the ability of the locator of the company registered in PESA to help pump prime our economy, generate foreign exchange, as well as to generate thousands of jobs. Kasi po, pag nakapag-create tayo ng libo-libong trabaho, abay lalaki po yung tinatawag nating personal disposable income, iikot po yung pera, lalaki po yung money supply, talaga pong ang economy natin mabe-benefit. That is the reason, ma'am, why we are granting them tax incentives. As a matter of fact, ma'am, nung ito'y magsimula, Big Dipper enjoyed at least 4 to 6 years of income tax holidays. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And nga sa mag-migrate siya doon sa tinatawag nating GIT. Ito nga po yung gross income taxation. Ang laki po ng tipid, ma'am. Ang ginawa lang palusot dito, exporter siya. But in reality, they are not exporting, ma'am. Why? It is not a product nor service that they created in this country. Produkto natin ito na dinigitize lang pagkatapos isesend sa Luxembourg or sa Hungary, yung pong kumpanya na yun is 100% ABS-CBN subsidiary. Nakita niyo po ba? Sasabihin natin ngayon, tax avoidance po ito Legal po ito Pag tax avoidance kasi, nakikinig yung ating assistant BIR commissioner, legal naman yun Kasi ang illegal yata is tax evasion, Cong Boying. Madam, what is moral is always legal. What is legal is not necessarily moral. Do you agree?
Yes po.
Okay. Alam po ba ninyo kung bakit binabanggit ko ito? Ito pa pala, bago ako pumunta doon sa pangalawang dako. Kapag nag-declare po ng dividends para sa
Mr.
ABS-CBN,
May I be recognized, Your Chair, to make my comment to the...
Move to suspend, Mr. Chairman.
Hearing suspended for a few minutes.
sino yung nag-interrupt?
Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence, session resume. Doon lang po sa representative ng ABS-CBN kasi po oras po to ni Congressman Marcoleta, but you have signified your intent to speak and we have noted that, but it would depend on the Honorable Congressman kung ano po ang direksyon ng kanyang pagtatanong at kung sino po ang kanyang tatanungin. So, Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, may we continue with the interpellation of the Honorable Marcoleta?
Salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed po, Deputy Speaker Marcoleta.
Hindi po ba, sino po yung gustong mag-react kanina sa inyo?
From ABS-CBN po, Congressman.
Sige, sa inyo ko na lang po itanong ito. Hindi po ba napakalaking kabawasan sa buwis ng Big Dipper sapagkat imbes na net income o yung taxable income ang tinitignan natin dito ay yung gross income na lang na kung saan doon ibabase yung 5%. As a matter of fact, napapulusot nga rito yung gross revenue sapagkat hindi naman po foreign entity yung bumibili. Foreign entity po ba yung ABS-CBN subsidiary? Di po ba 100% na pag-aari yun ng ABS-CBN? Do you consider that as a foreign entity?
Your Honor, you're correct. It's a 100% owned subsidiary of ABS-CBN.
Yes. Is it
located
considered a
in-
foreign entity?
Yes, Your Honor. May I continue, Your Honor, just to clarify some of the...
ABS-CBN owns it 100%. Is ABS-CBN a foreign entity?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, ay paano naging foreign entity yun?
Your Honor, may I clarify a few of the points?
No. Yun ang nga yung sinasabi ko kayong gustong sumagot pagkatas hindi mo naman pala masagot Ganito po yun Kaya ko po binibigyan ng malaking punto yung Big Dipper. Mr. Chair, kahit na po napakahirap talaga dahil to ay puro numero, si Congressman Barsaga lang naman ang mahilig gumawa ng mga tables ng numbers na ito. Kasi nung nagte-training po ako sa Harvard, Mr. Chair, si Kong Barsaga, professor doon Ito po kasi napakarami po ng binigyan na financial statements ng talaga. Isang tonelada po na financial statements. Talaga namang mabubulag ka na, Mr. Chair. Pero pagtityagaan mo sayang din naman po Tinagtyagaan din lang ibigay sa atin. Alam nga namang hindi natin bigyan ng importansya, di ba? Mula 1992 po, tsaka 2018 po yung nakita ko kasing mga financial statements. Dalawa po kasi yung coverage ng inyong financial statements, sir, from ABS-CBN. Ito po yung consolidated at saka po yung parent company. Di po ba? Yung ABS po kasi from 1993, meron po kayong mga kasama rito. Ito po yung Video Post Manila, Inc. Ang Video Post was BOI registered on July 26, 1989. Nagsimula po kayo ron. Sa consolidated coverage, Mr. Chair, ang revenue po nila is 2,358,945,074 pesos. Pag kinumpara po ninyo do sa coverage naman ng parent company, ito po yung ABS-CBN, parehong-pareho po yun. Walang discrepancy, kaya okay na okay po yun. 1994 po, ganun din po, kasama niya yung Video Post Manila. Hanggang 1995, 96, kasama na po yung mga subsidiaries, Mr. Chair, umabot hanggang 2000, let me see, hanggang 1999 po, Mr. Chair, kung ano po yung reported revenue nung ABS-CBN and subsidiaries, at saka po yung revenues reported by ABS-CBN, wala pong pagkakaiba yun. So ang pinag-uusapan po natin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 years. Walang pagkakaiba po yun. Tama naman po dapat ang presentation na gano'n. At nung panahon na yun nga, itong 7 years na ito, Mr. Chair, ang tax code was amended. Nag-decrease po ng rates yung corporate income tax. Dumating na po yung rehimen ng minimum corporation income tax. Dumating na rin po yung net operating loss carryover, yung NOLCO, at marami pang ibang mga changes. Pero Noong 1998 po, 34% ang CIT rate. Ito po yung corporate income tax rate. At noong namang 1999, naging 33% CIT rate. Tama po yun, Mr. ABS-CBN. Itong akin pong, kasi po galing lahat po sa inyong financial statements ito. Ginroup ko lamang po ito at sinuma ko lang. Between 1993 to 1999, walang pagkakaiba yung coverage po. Yung consolidated po, yun ang isang coverage. Yung revenue po ng consolidated or group of companies at saka po yung revenue po ng ABS-CBN, wala pong pagkakaiba. 1993 to 1999. Will you confirm that, sir? Example, in 1999, ABS-CBN and subsidiaries consolidated 7,822,176,512 pesos. Ganon din po yung halaga sa parent company, which is ABS-CBN. Okay.
That's correct, Your Honor. Wala
Okay.
pong pagkakaiba.
Magmula po ng 1993 hanggang 1999, kung ano po yung consolidated revenues, yun din po yung coverage, consolidated revenues po ng parent company, which is ABS-CBN.
Tama po yan.
Okay. Noong 2000 po, year 2000, 32% na po yung corporate income tax rate. Ang revenues po ng consolidated companies po ninyo and subsidiaries, 9,240,308,000 pesos. At dito po nagkaroon ng nakita kong problema. Sapagkat yung recorded naman nyo sa parent company or ABS-CBN, 8,836,768 pesos, 122 pesos. Alam po niyo yung difference? 403,539 pesos, 878. Ito po ay financial statements ninyo. Wala po akong sariling dokumento rito.
Mo pang sumagot?
Sige po.
Ang pagkakaiba po niyan ay nanggaling na po sa business ng ABS-CBN para po sa kanyang international operations.
Kaya nga po dito papasok po.
Kaya po nagkakaiba po yung parent tsaka po consolidated kasi po sa parent wala po yung international revenue niya, nasa subsidiaries po niya.
Alam ko po yun. Papasok na po tayo dahil dito na po. Ito yung nakikita ko dito yung influensya ng Big Dipper. In 2001, consolidated revenues, 9,741,191,000. Parent company, ABS-CBN, 9,097,368,000. Ang difference, 643,823,000. Ito lang muna ang natin. Merong difference talaga. If you want to confirm that. 2002, hindi ko nababanggitin po yung revenues ng dalawang column na ito. You can check your records. Ang difference po in 2003, Mr. Chair, 910,800,000. Dito po nag-umpisa yung tinatawag na restatement. Dito po ay nag-a-apply na po yung new and updated financial accounting standards o yung tinatawag ninyong international accounting standards. Baka gusto po ninyong ma-recall. Ngayon, dito po sa 2003, ang difference po ng consolidated at saka yung parent revenue, papalaki na po ng papalaki ito 972,238,000. Noon pong 2004, ito na po, 1,077,759,000. Ito po yung mas malaki. 2005, ang difference na po ng dalawang revenues, consolidated and parent revenue, 17,047,076,000. nakakapagtaka po, itong taon na ito, wala po kayong nireflect na revenue sa ABS-CBN. 2005. Bakit po?
Let me just check lang po the financial statements, but parang hindi naman po maangyayari na walang revenue ang ABS-CBN.
Pakicheck po ninyo kasi po, hindi naman po ako accountant, kinuha ko lang po naman ang financial statement ninyo.
Your Honor, hanapin ko lang po yung files ko ng
Sige
2000.
po, habang hinahanap ninyo, isang assistant na lang po niyo, tuloy ko na po ito.
Apo.
Balikan na lang po natin kung mahahanap po ninyo. Okay lang po yun? Noon naman pong 2006, Mr. Chair, ang difference between the consolidated revenue at saka yung revenue po reported ng ABS-CBN, 6,412,490,000 pesos. Dito po nagsisimulang makita ko na po yung mga discrepancies sa comparison po ng previous financial statement. Kagaya po ng observation din ni Cong Barsaga kanina, Mr. Chair. Tingnan po ninyo yung pagkumparahan po ninyo yung dalawang financial statement, meron po kayong discrepancy. 2007, Mr. Chair, ang difference between the consolidated revenues reported at saka po yung parent, which is ABS-CBN, 6,524,632,000. And then 2008, Mr. Chair, the difference is 9,790,821,000 pesos. (2009), Mr. Chair, ito na po yung medyo malaki-laki na naman. 11,445,397. Dito po na-incorporate yung ABS-CBN Hungary at saka yung registration po ng Big Dipper sa PESA. Itong 2009 po. Year 2010, Mr. Chair, ang difference between the two reported revenues, 11,640,763,000. 2011 po, the difference between the two sets of revenues, 11,137,079,000. Dito po makikita ang mga discrepancies, yung comparison po ng previous financial statements ninyo. Madali naman pong makita yun dahil sa kayo naman pong gumawa nito. 2012, the difference between the two revenues, Mr. Chair, 13,213,104,000. Meron na naman pong discrepancy ron. 2013, 15,085,710,000. 2014, Mr. Chair, 14,954,816,000. Napakaraming pera po nito, Mr. Chair. 2015, 16,466,743,000. 2016, 17,155,859,000. 2017, 17,932,329,000. 2018, ito po yung last 2 years ago. The difference between the two sets of revenues, another 17,373,924,000. Ito pong nakita kong differences, Mr. Chair. Itong 15 years lamang na ito, na binabanggit kanina ni Cong Sarate, sayang wala na po sa rito, na ang sinasabi po kasi nila, nagbayad daw sila ng taxes total of 71.5 billion pesos for 17 years. Pero ito po, 15 years lang ang kinukwenta ko, at sa difference lang, Mr. Chair, 186 billion po ang difference. So kahit na po siguro nagbayad sila ng 100 billion, Mr. Chair, eh, matitira pang 86 billion. Ito po yung, Mr. ABS-CBN, sarili po ninyong financial statements ito eh. Hindi ko po ginawa ito eh. Bakit po, kung halimbawa po, sabihin na lang natin 30% CIT. Ito, preliminary lang naman po ito. May plus or minus, whatever. Kung halimbawa, ang pagbabasihan natin, yung consolidated revenues po ninyo, sapagkat doon naman yung, nandun lahat ang subsidiaries nyo, eh di dapat noong 2016, Mr. Chair, ang bayad ninyo ng tax, 12.49 billion pesos sana. Noong 2018 naman, ang binayaran nyo sana, 12.21 billion. At noong 2018 pala, teka, nagkabaligtad to. 2017, 12.4 billion at noong 2018, 12.21 billion. Sa makatwid, Mr. Chair, kasi po kahapon merong illustration si Congressman Barsaga. Between 2016 and 2019, sabi po nila, ang naibayad yata nila. Ngayon, binago nila, ngayon ko lang nakita, 2016 to 2018, 24.6 billion po ang binayad ninyong taxes. Tama po yun? Pero kung kukwentahin ko po rito ngayon, dapat ang binayaran nyo 36.7 billion.
Maaari po bang sumagot?
Bibigyan ko po kayo ng pagkakataong sumagot. Ipaliwanag ko lamang po na sa akin po kasing palagay, Mr. Chair, itong differences na sinasabi ko, which amounted to an aggregate amount to 186 billion, ang posibilidad po kasi ay pagpasok po ng Big Dipper at saka yung mga tax shields through corporate layering ay nagamit. Then these additional revenues would have been reported by the parent company being subjected to the regular corporate income tax sana of 30%. Yung discrepancy pong nakikita ko kanina doon sa year-to-year basis ng financial statements, Mr. Chair, these are figures reported in the current year which are not the same figures reported in the previous years. Base po sa inyong financial statement kasi ito eh. So, hindi po ako may problema. Tiningnan ko lang po yung financial statements. You wanted to react?
Kung maipapaliwanag ko lamang po the difference po between a parent company financial statements and a consolidated financial statements. Ang bawat subsidiary po ng ABS-CBN, may sarili-sarili po siyang financial statements na fina-file po sa BIR at nagbabayad po ng sarili-sarili nilang taxes. Ang consolidated financial statements po is a representation of the aggregated business of ABS-CBN and its subsidiaries. Under the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, there is a difference between accounting for a parent company financial statements and a consolidated financial statements, which I will not go through anymore. But in essence po, each of the company in the consolidated financial statements prepared their own standalone financial statements, prepared their standalone income tax return, and paid po their respective taxes based on the financial statements and income tax return that was prepared. And then for financial reporting po, under the PFRS or Philippine Financial Reporting Statements, these are consolidated for representation of the operations of the group. So yung taxes po in the consolidated financial statements cannot be based on the consolidated net income because this is a combination of independent operations of each company that prepares their independent financial statements and prepare their separate income tax return. So ang sinasabi ko po, ang ABS-CBN Corporation po halimbawa ay may subsidiary na Sky Cable. Ang Sky Cable po ay gumawa ng sarili niyang financial statements, gumawa po ng sarili niyang income tax return, at nagbayad po ng taxes para sa kinita niya. At ganon din po yung iba-ibang kumpanya ng ABS-CBN. Mari po kayong magtanong kung bakit po maraming kumpanya na involved sa ABS-CBN. It's because po, iba-iba po ang operations ng bawat kumpanya. Ang ABS-CBN po is broadcasting at content production. Ang Sky Cable naman po is in pay TV business. Meron po kayong makikita dyan na ABS-CBN Films Productions, Inc., who's into the business of producing film, which prepares also po their separate financial statements and pays po its income tax. So technically po, bawat kumpanya na isinasama sa consolidated financial statements had paid its corresponding taxes po. So yung consolidation po is simply a aggregation and a representation of the combined business if this is taken as one po. And that is a requirement po under PFRS, which is required po by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Medyo po mas salimuot lang po yung consolidation process.
That is your answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, but you will be trapped in your own contradiction because kung totoo po yung pangangatwiran ninyo, bakit naman noong 1999, consolidated po ito, mga subsidiaries po rin ito eh. Pareho naman ang inyong consolidated revenues at yung consolidated revenue ng ABS-CBN Corporation. In 1998, ganun din. Nireport din yung subsidiaries din. Hindi pinag-iwahiwalay kamukha ng pagkakapaliwanag nyo. Naintindihan ko po yung paliwanag na yun. Ang problema, paano nyo ipaliliwanag ngayon, magmula po noong 1993 hanggang 1999, maliwanag na 7 taon ang pinag-uusapan natin, parehong-pareho po eh, yung consolidated at saka yung parent company. Pagkatapos bigla kayong magsasabi ngayon, sa kalagitnaan ng ating pag-uusap, na ito iba naman po ang ginagawa nito, iba ang ginagawa ni ganon. Wala pong consistency ang inyong pagpapaliwanag.
I would surmise po that is actually a
You would
result.
what?
I would, ang masasabi ko po ay ito po ay gawa ng evolution po ng accounting standards dito sa Pilipinas. Sa patuloy po na to improve the financial reporting in the Philippines, there are a lot of accounting standards that are implemented.
So
that
may
on a
kasalanan,
year-on-year
may
po,
kasalanan po ba nito
nag-iiba po siya
the
ng
evolution of the accounting standards?
nag-iiba-iba po ang requirements sa pag-prepare ng consolidated financial statements at ng parent company financial statements.
Pero kung
At
mag-evolve po siguro,
isa pa po, nung panahon po ng 1993 to 1999, mas maliit po ang operations ng ABS-CBN sa iba-ibang mga businesses. Kaya po, kung papansinin niyo po, halos ang nag-ooperate ng malaki ay yung parent company which is presented as parent. Kaya po, siguro nung na-consolidate, parang wala pong difference.
yun po yung assumption, hindi ba?
I would assume po kasi...
Yun nga po, assumption lamang po ninyo yun.
I would read it that way po.
Yun nga po, assumption po ninyo yun. Tama?
Sige po.
Okay. Pero iba naman po kasi yung assumption ko eh.
Naintindihan ko po.
Okay, salamat po. Sapagkat sa aking assumption po kasi, hindi naman magiging dahilan yung evolution ng accounting standards. Kaya naman po ginagawa yung evolution na yan para mapadali ang gawain, para hindi maitago kung ano yung dapat na itago. Kasi po, nakaka-intriga, 186 billion pesos na dati naman hindi naman po nagkakaiba itong parent company, biglang nagkaroon po ng mga discrepancy in your financial statements. Earlier, wala po akong nakita. Pagkatapos nung dumating po yung panahon ng Big Dipper, dito po talaga. And then I assume that Big Dipper was utilized really, heavily utilized para ma-understate po ang inyong pagbabayad ng taxes. As a matter of fact, kung nakikinig po yung taga-BIR, meron po kong hawak na Excel file, Mr. BIR, that show that Big Dipper was basically used as a subterfuge to cover up earnings and be taxed at a lower rate. Given the inferences, well, this is my assumption, right? Kasi po, napakalaki po nung group revenue kung ikukumpara doon sa parent. Kung ang pinag-uusapan lang po siguro is 10% of this 186 billion, I would have easily sided with you. Pero kung napakalaking ganito po, and then makikita natin itong mga discrepancies, and then you departed from what you used to do earlier, isa lang po ang may isip namin dito na talagang merong nangyaring takipan dito. I will provide the BIR of the Excel file. Meron naman po ako nito para lalo po nating makita kung sino pong assumptions ang kung yung assumption po ng ABS-CBN o ang assumption ng representasyong ito ang mananaig sa bandang uli.
Pwede po bang magsalita?
What is it?
Gusto ko lang pong sabihin na wala po kaming tinatago at hindi po namin ginamit ang Big Dipper para po mag-avoid ng taxes. As a matter of fact po, it is disclosed in the financial statements and it's available in our website and it's filed po with the SEC and the PSE, and we have full disclosure po of the transactions and how it is organized and how it was operated po. Yun lang po.
It is not what you believe. It is what you can prove in this hearing. Mr. Chair, pwede ko bang balikan yung... Kasi po kahapon pinag-uusapan natin yung AMCARA insofar as this subject is concerned, sapagkat ang AMCARA is one of the group subsidiaries na napasali doon sa consolidation ng parent company which is ABS-CBN. Hindi po ba yung AMCARA before ABS-CBN divested its shares in, I think, was it last year po, Mr. ABS-CBN?
In 2019 po. Last year po.
Yeah, I think it's January of 2019. Before that, you own 49% of AMCARA. And then it was reported as in the financial statement of ABS-CBN, considering that it's more than 20%. They report naman because it's more than 20%, di ba?
Under accounting rules po, ang investment po owned 20% and above is required to be consolidated po.
That's right, that's right. Ang sabi nga ninyo, bumili ng block time ang ABS sa AMCARA frequency para ipalabas yung mga programa nito. Pero ang problema po, Mr. Chair, yung ABS-CBN tsaka yung AMCARA, parehong may frequency. Tama po ba yun?
We have separate frequencies po.
Oo nga po. Ang ABS-CBN tsaka yung AMCARA, pareho silang may franchise.
Opo,
Okay.
pareho po.
Ang ABS-CBN, tinawag niyang Studio 23 yung channel ng AMCARA at ginagamit niya yung logo ng ABS-CBN. Pati yung pasilidad, pati yung equipment, at saka yung mga engineers, di ba?
For that po, sa mas nakakaalam po,
Sino po yung nakakaalam kaya?
yung pong
Noong panahon po na 49% ang interest pa ng ABS-CBN, ginagamit niya yung AMCARA Studio 23 at kaya nga ginagamit yung logo.
Your Honor, may I ask that our legal counsel, Attorney Ayo Bautista, be recognized on Zoom?
Yes, sir.
Attorney Bautista, you're now recognized.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, but I'm not familiar with the details of the Ankara operations. Maybe a member of the legal department of ABS can better answer the question.
Did I get it right that Studio 23 is utilized by ABS-CBN? This is a channel of Ankara, and because your logo is also being used, and the facilities, including the equipment and the engineers, so this means that ABS-CBN is operating Studio 23, is that correct?
Your Honor, if I may be recognized, Your Honor, our resource person for the matter on Ankara is
Excuse
not
me
present.
po,
I'm Marvin Ibarra, Your Honor,
Mr.
legal
Ibarra,
counsel for ABS-CBN.
kung maaari po ay habang yung floor po ay na kay Deputy Speaker Marcoleta, hintayin mo pong tawagin po niya yung pangalan.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Sige po.
Unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, our resource person, Attorney Maxim Uy, is not present in today's hearing, so we won't be able to answer any of the questions relating to Ankara.
Pero siguro naman alam niyo na kapag ginagamit ng ABS-CBN yung Studio 23, yung logo po ang ginagamit, hindi yung logo ng Ankara. Yun lang po, baka yun pwede niyo sagutin.
Again, Mr. Chair, our resource person for this topic is not present, so we can't provide any answer to that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, kasi kaya ko po nire-raise to Mr. Chair. Gusto ko pong ikumpara yung Tape Incorporated. Ito po yung producer ng Itbulaga doon sa Channel 7. Yung pong Tape Inc., hindi po pag-aari ng GMA. Ibang may-ari ng tape. Iba yung sitwasyon ng ABS-CBN. Pag nag-block time po yung tape sa GMA frequency, ang ginagamit po niya ay yung prangkisa ng GMA. Ang GMA po ang may prangkisa, pero ang tape wala. Samantalang sa kaso po ng ABS-CBN, pareho silang may prangkisa. Ang gamit po ng Tape Inc. ay yung GMA logo. Sa kabilang banda, ang may-ari po ng channel is Studio 23 is Ankara, pero ang ginagamit na logo, ABS-CBN. Saan po ako papunta, Mr. Chair? Ayaw po kasi nilang aminin na yun po ay use of rack. Tingnan po ninyo, ang block time ng ABS-CBN, hindi lamang dahil sila ay binabayaran. Hindi po lumalabas yung sa Studio 23 yung logo ng Ankara. Ang nakikinabang po dito, ABS-CBN, ginagamit po ang frequency ng Ankara, tinatamasa ang produkto nito sa paggamit ng kanilang channel. Iisa po yung kanilang mga engineers. Engineers din ng ABS-CBN. Ito po yung maliwanag na use of rack. Kasi po ito pinoint out na ni Cong Boying nung isang araw, ayaw pa po nilang aminin. Pero sa prangkisa po ng Ankara, Mr. Chair, maliwanag po, hindi po pwede na ipagamit sapagkat ito po ay use of rack. Nakalagay po sa prangkisa nila yun, Mr. Chair. Yun pong hinahanap natin kanina, sir, yung year 2005, bakit wala po akong makitang revenue? Nakita nyo na po ba? $17,047,000,000 po kasi ang reported sa consolidated, pero sa parent company, wala po akong makita. Nakita niyo
Sir,
kasi sabi po niyo titingnan niyo kanina.
Ang revenue po niya ay 7.7 billion po under the parent company financial statements.
Anong financial statement? Nasaan po yung financial
Yan
statement?
po yung parent company financial statements po.
Hindi, yung consolidated po ninyo is 17 billion 47 million.
Opo.
Dito po sa parent company, wala po akong makita. Saan po ninyo nakita yon?
Sa separate parent company financial statements po noong 2005.
Nasaan po yun?
Your Honor, we submitted it po, but I can double check po kasi may separate parent company financial statements po
Bakit
siya.
po nagkaroon ng separate samantalang dito sa binigay nyo sa akin, comparable naman po yung i-add lang po natin yung consolidated tsaka po yung ABS-CBN. Pero yung 2005, wala po talaga.
Yan na po yung, if I may po, yan na po yung ni-require na po under the accounting standards that the presentation is not side by side, but the parent company financial statements has to be separate from the consolidated financial statements. Kaya po yung 2005, dalawa po ang financial statements ng ABS-CBN, isang parent company po tsaka consolidated.
Ganon din po itong mga pinresent ko sa inyong revenues. Doon ko rin po kinuha eh. Kaya nagtataka po ako, ba't meron kayo, bakit ako po hindi ko makita? Kasi po, pinag-uusapan natin dito, 17 billion eh.
Pero po imposible po kasing walang
Yun nga po
revenue po yung parent company. Kasi
Yun nga
po
po.
sa records ko po, although it's in my Excel file po, it's 7.7 billion po.
Sa mga tweet po, magmula nung 2004, 10 billion na kayo, bumagsak sa 7 billion na lang. Ano po ang explanation na walang kayo ng 3 billion?
Sorry po, ano po yan?
Yung po kasing 2004, 10 billion 232 million. Ang sinasabi nyo, 2005, bumagsak siya ng 7 billion. Ang sumunod po kasi noon, halos 11 billion na eh.
Can I just check lang po para po masigurado ko yung sagot? Because this information are about way back, so I have to review lang po my numbers. If you may po.
Sige po, kasi talagang kaduda-duda po kasi itong mga figura na nakukuha namin, lalong-lalo na po itong pagkakaiba at saka itong differences, malalaking halaga po kasi ito eh. Kaya nga sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina, the possibility that Big Dipper was utilized in this scheme. It is your right to disprove this, sir, if you can.
Sir, sa files ko po kasi there was a restatement that happened in 2006. That's why in the 2006-2005 consolidated financial statements po, it went up na po to consolidated revenue of 11 under the parent company. But let me just check po because there is normally a disclosure. Why is there a restatement? If kung makikita nyo po may nakalagay na note 2 under the year 2005, that would explain po the restatement that happened on that year. And
Yeah.
normally po, the restatement is due to an adoption of an accounting standard po. Let me review lang po kasi medyo matagal na po. I need to understand lang po.
I will allow you to review that. Pero ito yung isa pang tanong, bakit yung ultimate parent, yung Lopez Inc., ay hindi naka-reflect sa mga audited financial statements?
Because Lopez Inc. is not a subsidiary of ABS-CBN Corporation. So, nasa taas po siya. So, si
I'm not saying it is a subsidiary. Ang ano po ang Lopez Inc. is the ultimate parent. Siya po ang may-ari ng lahat ng ito eh. Saan papasok siya sa picture nito? Tingnan po ninyo. Nakalimutan ko lang yung mapa ko, dapat pinakita ko sa inyo eh. Sa ibabaw ng lahat ng ito is Lopez Incorporated. Lopez Incorporated owns ABS-CBN to the extent of something like, it's more than 50%. 61% maybe. Ang ikalawang may-ari nito, ito yung PCD Nominee Corporation. Tama po?
Sir, I will not be able to answer po for
Yeah,
Lopez Inc.
sinasabi ko lang sa'yo because kung sino pa yung pinaka-importante, yung hindi natin makita sa total picture. Samantalang isa po yung nandito sa pinakamataas, siya yung ultimate parent eh. Ito mga anak na lang eh. Itong subsidiary, puro apo na lang ito eh. So, hindi po nyo masisisi ang representasyong ito na i-point out ko lahat ito, lalong-lalo na po kanina, yung Big Dipper. Paano nangyari na ito'y marelocate sa PESA samantalang hindi naman siya qualified na isang locator? Kung babasahin po natin yung panuntunan ng PESA, ang kauna-unahan po kasing hinihingi doon, it is capable of contributing to the economic activity of this country, not only in being able to export products that would generate so much invisibles that will be needed by our economy, as well as in generating thousands, if not millions of employment. Kaya mo siya bibigyan ng tax shield, kaya mo siya bibigyan ng tax incentive. Pero ito pinakikita nga namin dito, it is not a producer of a product. At hindi siya exporter within the meaning of international commerce. Sapagkat iisa lang ang kanyang kliyente. Ito yung ABS-CBN 100% owned na nakalista sa Hungary. Bakit po ninyo pinaregister sa Hungary? Ang tax po doon yata mga 5% lang eh. Pagkatapos noon, gumawa pa kayo ng parang branch office sa Luxembourg. Ilan po yung kumpanya sa Luxembourg, ilan po yung manpower, ilan po yung empleyado doon sa inyong branch ng ABS-CBN Global in Luxembourg?
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes, how many?
Marami pong questions doon. I'd like to respond one by one to many of them.
Doon lamang po sa ilan po yung empleyado sa ABS-CBN Luxembourg na branch ninyo.
Your Honor, there are no employees because the services required to be completed by Hungary are outsourced. And
No, my
that is
question
allowed
is
by
very
the-
simple. How many employee or employees do you have in ABS-CBN Global branch in Luxembourg?
None, Your Honor, because as I said,
Ano po?
wala po.
Ito
Wala
po
po because
Pagkatapos sasabihin po natin, employment generation. Sabi po ng PESA kanina is ability to generate thousands of jobs. Ang sineserbisyuhan lamang po niya, sinasabi ko na kanina, ABS-CBN Film Productions Inc., Sarimanok, Creative Programs. Isa lamang po ang kanyang kliyente, ito nga yung ABS-CBN Global Hungary. So kumita po siya 2018 sa Pilipinong peso, 2,679,475,631 pesos.
Your Honor,
Ang
it's,
ginagawa lang po, Mr. Chair, magbebenta siya sa sarili niya. Kasi siya rin ang may-ari eh. Eh kung hindi po ninyo nakikita ang pinag-uusapan natin dito at pipilitin nyo kami na papaniwalain, sana i-disprove nyo yung sinasabi namin.
Your Honor, may I respond to that, please?
Yes, sir.
We are not selling to ourselves, and it's misleading to say that because yung ultimate customers po are the Filipino and non-Filipino audience around the world. Yung Hungary po licenses the content to other companies around the world, which then redistributes it by forging agreements in the respective jurisdictions. That's how Hungary is able to generate foreign exchange, which it then pays to Big Dipper. On the employment question about Big Dipper not generating thousands and thousands of jobs, in the IT sector, typically it's not labor intensive. I think the government's plan here was to build the IT sector because I think the economy is composed mainly of, or a lot of agriculture workers, and we're trying to move, as I understand, to a more manufacturing IT-based economy. So I think this is what we're trying to do here. And in terms of what Big Dipper has accomplished over the last 10 years, I think we have been able to fulfill what the government set out to do, which is to generate employment, to build the IT sector, to generate foreign exchange, which we mentioned was $237 million. And also there will be a multiplier effect to all this economic activity. So I don't think it's correct to say na wala pong pinapaikot lang or we're just selling to ourselves. I think Big Dipper has been able to fulfill the initial objective set by the government in the investment priorities plan in 2009.
Don't you think what you said is supposed to be the one to be testified to by PESA and other competent agencies? Kayo po yung nagsasabi para sa sarili niyo eh. You don't have to support yourself. You don't have to patronize yourself. PESA should be the one to ratify and even support your statements. Kung talagang ganun nga kayo. But what we see here is a different story.
Your Honor, may I ask that Attorney Othello be recognized to respond?
Mr. Chair.
Sige po, Attorney Otelo.
Okay. Your Honor, maybe we may give our comments on the various points that you have raised. First, on whether or not a service would qualify as an export product, Your Honor. Because I think there is a impression that only a physical good can be exported. But under our laws, even services may be exported, Your Honor. And that is provided under our PESA law and in fact, even under the tax code, Your Honor. And also, so that's why under the resolution number 00411 that was passed by PESA law, it allowed the registration of information technology enterprises, Your Honor. So it could provide IT services abroad, Your Honors. So these are not physical product. Thus, these are in the form of services. Same with BPOs, Your Honor. So they provide services. These are considered exports and are entitled to incentives under the PESA law, Your Honor, provided they satisfy the conditions set under our PESA regulations, Your Honor. So in this case, Your Honor, PESA applied for registration, no, of its activities under that regulation, and under the evaluation made by PESA, it qualified, and so it was able to avail, no, of the preferential tax treatment, specifically a income tax holiday for the first 6 years, and after the expiration of the tax holiday, it was allowed to enjoy the 5% gross income tax, just like other qualified locators, Your Honor. Now, as to the point that Big Dipper has only one client abroad, Your Honor, which is also a wholly owned subsidiary, Your Honor, which is ABS-CBN Global Hungary. Although this is also a wholly owned subsidiary of ABS-CBN Corp, since this corporation was organized in a foreign country, under Philippine laws, that is considered a non-resident foreign corporation, Your Honor, because we follow the place of incorporation rule. So the nationality of that corporation is a non-resident, Your Honor. So that if Big Dipper, which is a domestic corporation, sells to this non-resident foreign corporation, which is located abroad, then that sale of service by a resident to a foreign corporation located abroad is considered export, Your Honor.
Are you true? Tapos na kayo?
Yes, Your Honor.
Di ba nakakapagtaka kung bakit sa Hungary po kayo nagpa-register ng ABS-CBN Global KFT? Ano po ba yung, magkano po ba yung tax rate sa Hungary?
Your Honor, when we make a decision on where to locate any of our companies, we take into consideration many factors. No? In this case, since Hungary manages the IP,
Di po tinatanong ko lang yung tax rate kasi
Your Honor, you mentioned, sorry, you mentioned
ano po yung tax rate sa Hungary?
it is 9% currently, Your Honor.
Maliit po, di ba? What about ABS-CBN Global Limited, which was registered in Cayman's Island? Magkano po ang tax rate? Wala po, di ba? Tax
So,
holidays. Ito po yung problema, Mr. Chair. Alam niyo kung ipagpipilitan po yung sinasabi ninyo na kayo po talagang nagbayad ng correct taxes, madali po nating makita yun eh. Pero kung sasabihin nyo sa amin na i-justify ninyo na kayo po ay PESA, kayo po ba'y consider na PESA locator?
Big Dipper is considered as a
Locator?
allocator. ABS-CBN, no.
O yun po eh. Do you know what a locator is?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is a locator within the meaning of the PESA?
A locator is a company that has, for example, land or a building in which a PESA registered company may locate.
This is the beauty of this, sir, Mr. ABS-CBN. Kaya po joint hearing ito para makita rin po namin yung pagkukulang ng ating mga government agencies. In this particular case, yung PESA. Gusto naming malaman kung bakit pinalusot niya ito. Bakit kayo na-register? Within the meaning of the objectives of PESA na kung saan dapat makinabang ang gobyerno sa maraming dapat na makakuha ng trabaho, makinabang sa pagpapalago ng ating ekonomiya. Wala po kaming nakita eh. Kaya gusto namin malaman, bakit kaya ni-register ng PESA? Hindi ba dahil lamang dun sa 5% na GIT yung pinag-uusapan namin? Kasi ang laki po ng mababawasan sa inyo eh. Kung hindi kayo registered, sinasabi ko nga kanina, maliwanag na ibe-base po ang pagbabayad nyo ng tax doon sa net income. And easily, ang gagawin po doon, i-slap nila yung 30% CIT. Hindi po nangyari yun eh. Parang ang nangyari, yung gross revenue no, nakalusot na eh. Hindi po ba nyo nakikita yung nakikita namin? Napakasimple po nung analysis dito eh. So, to us, Mr. Chair, Big Dipper was organized to simply act as a subterfuge para magiging understated po yung income as reflected in the difference between the two sets of revenues I presented earlier. Sa gross revenue po ng consolidated and the gross revenue of the parent company ABS-CBN, there is a difference of 186 billion pesos. This is the most intriguing question, Mr. Chair, that needs to be resolved. Mr. Chair, salamat po sa inyo. Mr. Chair, may I get the 15 seconds left for Congressman Rimulya?
Yes, Congressman Marcoleta, kung papayagan po kayo ni Congressman Rimulya.
Anything from my esteemed colleague,
Congressman
Attorney
Marcoleta.
Thank you. Last question to Mr. Carlo Caparas. Kung totoo pong talagang pinatitibayan nyo na mayroong black time agreement, hindi po ba, I'm sorry, Mr.
Carlo
Carlo
Katigbak.
I'm very sorry. Hindi po ba totoo na ang rights po ng Amcara ay nilipat na po sa Multimedia and Productions Company as of March 12, 2019 per NTC case number 2019-041. Paano po magkakaroon ng block time? Nilipat na po ang kanyang rights sa Asian Multimedia and Production Company, March 12, 2019. So paano po yan? Papag-aari din po ninyo yun, tama po ba? Palipat-lipat po tayo, kaya mula po nung kauna-unang araw na tayo nagkakaharap dito, pinaiikot-ikutan po ninyo kami. Alam po namin lahat ito, Mr. Katigbak. Kaya kung minsan po, pinagin yung sinasabi, kung meron po kaming pagkakamali, patawarin na lang po. Ganun. Paano po kami magkakaroon ng initiative na magpatawad naman? Hanggang ngayon, puro na lang po kayo pagtatakip. Sasabihin nyo, merong block time. Ito po, NTC case number 2019-041. As of March 12, 2019, nilipat na po sa Asian Multimedia and Production Company. Paano po magkakaroon ng block time, Mr. Katigbak?
Sa pagkakaalam ko po, hindi pa in-approve ang transfer po ng NTC, Mr. Chair. Baka yung, maybe the NTC can answer with certainty, but as far as I know, that application for a transfer was never approved.
Padadala ko po sa inyo yung mga records, Mr. Katigbak, para matapos lang tayo. Na-transfer na po talaga, March 12, 2019. Mr. Chair, salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Marcoleta.